G'day mate and welcome back to Factorio with me, JD. We're doing another base tour and this is of the community map that's just passed, the one for October. This is for the October map, which was the Great Australian Bight, which, I don't know whether you can tell by the map, heavily features Australia. We actually spawned right around here somewhere, actually in that box, because we actually... So... the map is based around the Factorio Earth map that me, Will, Mojo, Zuri, Exterminator, Kraus, Stu, we're all been doing together on and off for like 2 months now. Except I cranked the biters up to Australian levels. So like an 11, maybe a 12. Expansion was set a lot higher. And on top of that, they expanded with 1 or 2 biters rather than normally need a party of 5 or 10. And the groups that attach your base, rather than being, I think normally it maxes out at 100, they were set up to 200 plus. On top of that, there was another change I made. Expansion was more often... I don't know. I can't remember the other change. But basically the biters were really, really hard. And we're just talking vanilla biters. I didn't add any mods to add different biter types. Just vanilla biters. Were just made slightly meaner than normal. A lot meaner than normal. So mean, in fact, that after 24 hours, I had to actually re-roll the map. Because, yeah, it was over. So, yeah. This is where spawn was, because it was actually heavily defended very, very early with gun turrets and the whole works. So, should spawn become a fallback position, it was going to be covered. As it's become, you know, the norm now, basically, I do a review of the map after the community is finished. So, we've now rolled into November. This is what we did in October. The goals for the map... was clear all the island of biters. So originally, and I spent 6 hours rolling this map to try and get something that I was happy with, and even then it failed. Originally the map was meant to be limited, and for some reason, I forgot to limit it in its final iteration. Which is very, very unfortunate because quite a few people went off exploring, because we had planes and all sorts of things. Planes and ships and boats and... yeah, some people went off exploring, which made the map file very, very large. Not as big as Race to the Edge, but large nonetheless. So the first challenge was to clear Australia of biters. And lo and behold, after the reroll, the community was done in 7 days. All of Australia. And like, this is a full solo blueprint. Australia is not small. It is a good run from one side to the other. The whole lot was done. In 7 days. Before, actually, I think it was even before artillery were up and running. It was done with tanks and early planes. So, second challenge was mine the world. And I will admit, this was entirely my fault. Vanilla resource generation really failed on this map. And when I tried playing with different types of RSO, I wasn't happy with the results. So I went with vanilla, doing an explore out during the, you know, for the starting area. I was like fairly happy with them, and then had the shit that vanilla causes. Like, you know, there's 1.6 mil, there's 5 mil, there's 2.5, there's a 165k out in the middle of nowhere. There's like these ones, 17,000 uranium. Like, how annoying is that? Just in the middle of nowhere. And you can see a lot of these have just been, you know, a couple of miners into a box. You know, that's down to 4k. This looks like a patch where there was a mine, you know, there was an outpost here and it's been packed up. And this was the leftovers. Yeah, it was not a fun experience when it came to trying to mine out the world. There's another one, 30k. These are not the worst ones. Like, there are ones that are like, you know, 0.0. There we go. 17,000. It's a couple of boxes worth. You literally put down a miner, a box or two, and an inserter, and then have to come back and pick it up later. So, unfortunately, mining the world just didn't happen. Neither because I forgot to set the size of the map. Boats that lap the edge of the map. We did go nuts with boats. I'm going to do a lot of this from map view because it's just, the map is so massive. So we've got plenty of cargo ships bringing oil. We're getting oil from New Zealand and copper. And this was a boat that I was playing with, which I hooked up to a train and it ran around in circles whenever you fed it fuel. But yeah, boats come in that they like just drain tanks and tanks and tanks worth of oil, load it onto the boat, ship it back to the mainland, back to Australia, and then off we go. And you know, it fills up in a hurry. These will drain fairly quickly because they don't have a direct direct pump access. They'll take a while to empty, but you know, we are filling up trains and trains worth. Eventually, we got sick of it, so we went with trains on water because it was just easier. It was just easier. We do have the bridge rail mod that just lets us build train tracks on water. But, you know, it wasn't exclusively used like that. I can't find an example. I think it might have been removed. I did take the artillery train. I don't know, it's a standard Kraken size. So, like, you know, 100 and something, you know, 195 wagons or so with 30 engines push, 30 engines pull. And you can see I've got this lovely dead straight train track that runs out all over the place. That's what I use to run around and kill every biter I could find. By just parking the train at sea and just bombarding the ground. As for the main base was your pretty, you know, stock standard base. Even with the extra 30 science packs, it was same as what happened on the Earth map. There was a lot of trying to catch up. So you got so much science that you have to handcraft to start with, and then you get assemblers, and then suddenly it's like charge for the finish line. You start just putting down build after build after build. So we've got gears, we've got good old red science. Now, because the object was to mine the world out, you'll find a lot of things are missing prod mods. And that was quite intentional. We were like, no, we want things to go faster. We don't want to spend productivity. We just want more of it to chew up the resources faster. So we've got Science Pack 1 with ore. We've got Science Pack 2 buried in here. And this base went full spaghetti. Like, people put down a build and like, okay, we've got to expand the build. There's no room because other builds have been put around it. We'll just fit it in everywhere. It was a very interesting challenge. We've got Science Pack 3. Where the hell is Science Pack 3? Oh, Science Pack 3 is shoved in here. Again, lots of speed modules just to get things running. In fact, this could probably do with more speed modules because this one stops moving. That one stops moving. So, yeah. Science Pack 4, same story. You know, bit of prod, bit of speed, bit all over the place. We've got Science Pack 5 here. Nope, that's some other random number. We've then got green science. Again, like, how often do you see a build that is just completely speed module? Science Pack 6. And things are just shoved in sort of everywhere we possibly can. Science Pack 7. 8 with the steam power, which, as you can see, has become our general recycling of all the goodies. Because it's always good to burn off all the wood and everything you find on the map. Oh, okay. And somebody's even hooked up a coal belt. Unfortunately, it's eating all coal and nothing else. Oh, okay. So I think it's requesting. So somebody else has done smarts on this. I think it's saying if there's less of 10 of each of these items, output green. And if you get 4 green signals, so if I take that down to 1. If that is greater than, okay. So if I set that to 100. Nope, no idea how the smarts work. I tried. Nope, I tried. These are all full of things. They all should run. I don't know. I'm sure somebody down in the comments can tell me what the smarts were meant to do. I'm dead set sure that it's read in. Rather than somebody setting these to 10 each, somebody's used a red signal instead. Output to there. If you get 4 green signals, i.e. all these are less than 10 in the network, go. The problem is these are still technically in the network. Actually, the right way to fix smarts. They're now all in the network. So somebody else is requesting wood elsewhere. But that should then pull from these chests until they're empty. Alright, and it should run off these chests instead. There we go. I fixed the smarts by not touching the smarts. Anyway, so we're on to military science. Again, lots and lots and lots and lots of speed modules. On to military science. On to Science Pack 9, which was all accumulators and solar panels. Then we're going to have purple science around about here somewhere. Oh no, blue science rather. With, what's that? Science Pack 11. Oh, that's the train one. That needs train stuff. And again, like, there was one machine here, because that's direct insertion. And then we're like, okay, we need another machine. This machine can get shoved up higher, and then we can fit in a second machine, and then we have a third. It's just, there, as you can see, stuff is built on top of stuff. So then we've got electric engines. So we've got the engine build, which goes, the engine build goes all the way up and comes all the way back down for blue science. But between there and there, you also have our electric engine build. Why? I don't know. It just happens to be that way. Most people take the excess from this build and then spit it back out and run it or split it off. What the hell do we have over here? Oh, we've got flamethrower turrets, because that's how the community map got cleared, with lots and lots of flamethrower turrets. I think I'm going to have to look at nerfing flamethrower turrets in the future. We've got Science Pack 14 with lots and lots of tanks. More engines, because obviously we ran short. The build wasn't big enough. We've got all the miners, which just eat belts and belts and belts. Do we have... We don't have max rate calculator. I thought we did on this map. Okay. We've got a supplementary gear production. Again, speed and prod. We got purple science, which was a small build. Consequently, it chews... I think it's got like 3 belts of bricks or something coming here. Yeah, the bus was made wide enough for 1 belt of bricks. And as you can see, we've got a belt. We've got a belt. Plus, where do you come from? Oh, okay. So we've got a belt coming through. We've got this one slides off and jumps on the same belt as stone. And then gets side-loaded on with red circuits. So we've got a red circuit and brick. Plus we've got a brick. Plus the brick gets reinserted again. It's a hectic build with quite a lot. And then we're adding red circuits further on with a requester chest because we couldn't get the red circuits all the way up there. Steel's also short. Steel's got an entry point as well. It's like... These builds have been built on top of one another, on top of one another. It's an iteration on an iteration on an iteration. Same with, like, you know, we're bringing 2 things down and we're merging them with a splitter. So this goes to the left-hand side, that goes to the right-hand side. It's like, yeah, it is what it is. Finally we come on to Science Pack 20. Which is stack inserters and assembly machines, which are very, very expensive, as you know. We've got concrete being made. Again, I think it was actually for a science pack. Down here somewhere. We finally went to the other side of the belt for yellow science. This was up here for cliff explosives, from memory. So yeah, we're gonna yellow size build again. It got long. It got very, very long to try and keep up with demand. And it's all prod modded because copper cables are a pain in the ass to move. We've got our speed module build. Again, speed modules full of speed modules. Science Pack 22. Oh, Science Pack 22 got tucked onto a make everything. So we're going to make everything here. We did have one here in the one bit of blank space there is that's been half built in now. So I make everything got rebuilt and was like, oh, we'll just take all the excess off this to make Science Pack 22. What else do we have? We've got Science Pack 23, the beacon one. Beacon and lube, because that makes sense. Science Pack 12 being the robot one. So we put in a small Skynet here with the excess from the engines up above. And, of course, run Skynet. We've got the power pot. The energy distribution pot, which is your 3 different types of power poles. Pack 15. Oh, it's lasers. The laser one, which again, you know, batteries, green circuits, just pull straight off the bus. Half a dozen machines for one science lab. We've got the stupid defender capsule, combat robots one. The equipment one. Oh, it's nuclear. Now, where's the equipment one? There it is. The equipment one, the module one, which again, just 8. It 8 circuits. We've got the 2 logistics bot ones. And as I said, you know, just because of lack of room, this one actually got prod modded in beacons. Blooper's fault. Blooper should have known better. But yeah, the crazy builds that just end up one on top of one another. Oh, we've got the atomic bomb one, which is add nukes. Add nukes equals science. And artillery ones, add artillery shells equals science. No idea where those 2 builds are. They're going to be here in this mess somewhere. We have a full robot-sized make everything. I don't like them all. Somebody did rename it IKEA, which I sort of approve. I do sort of approve. We've got the planes, same as we did on the Earth map we're currently doing. We have our oil build. Now, our oil build was a special type of mess. So we got like Science Pack 10 here being the chemical one. We've got an acid build that just keeps growing. Oh, flamethrower one. So we need to have a flamethrower build, which is in here somewhere. I don't even know where anymore. Plastic build, an explosive build, because we need like artillery and lots of artillery. Plus you need cannon shells. Plus you need all of this infrastructure to make one little cliff explosive, which does include nukes. Like 500 explosive, 1 sulfuric acid barrel, 1 iron stick, 50 red wire, 50 green wire, and a nuke to make 1 cliff explosive. Yeah, I'm a cruel man. Oh, rockets, because we've got the planes. We can fire rockets straight out of the planes. So somebody actually put down a rocket build, because the rockets on planes are actually quite good. A nuke build, because we just got to the point where nukes were not an issue. There's actually a uranium build up here that has just a tiny bit of uranium in it as well. Yeah. So yeah, a battery build. You know, all these builds got bigger and bigger. Like you can see, there used to be a train station here. It just got chopped off because a build got in the way. That's your nuclear fuel. Oh wow, we do have some nuclear fuel. I had no idea we had that much. We've got our rocket fuel, light oil with a backup from petroleum. So if the system gets backed up with petroleum, you can see it here. So this is set to if this tank has over 20,000 petroleum on it. So if this does not equal 0. So if green does not equal 0, this outputs a green, this outputs a green. So it's either or. And it's saying if lube is less than 500, at the moment it's 25k, and if this is saying if petroleum is more than 20k, we run this pump. As said, my oil tutorial that I did a couple of weeks ago, I did the exact same thing with 2 pumps. Because for me, and for people learning the game, it's easy to understand that both pumps need to be on for the system to work. This is an either-or situation, and in my case, I would have just done only pipe. I do it this way. So this could run if that condition's met. This one could run if that condition's met. Done. And it's just a different way of doing things. Avoiding combinators. Same as I fixed the steel build by not using combinators. Just change from a requested chest to a buffer chest, because if it's a buffer chest, it's technically in the network at the same time. So the robots can read it. So yeah, we got our oil build, which I'm going to try and walk through. It's going to be difficult. It's really going to be difficult because it's changed 3 times since the last time I saw it. So we got an oil build that just, it kept growing. Like, this is the heavy oil cracking. I don't know why the heavy oil cracking is so large. Maybe this was the coal liquefaction build. Because we have had a coal liquefaction build. Not because we needed it. It's just we had coal and we wanted to get rid of it. Come on. What are you set to? 10k. Yep. I wonder if these oil builds are even connected. Alright, whatever. We have 2 very large oil builds with a crap ton of cracking on both of them. Heavy oil from there comes down, wraps around. Because that is heavy oil for all 3 of it, or all 4 setups. That's why the heavy to light cracking is so large. There you go. So we have a rate-controlled solid fuel. So you want to make sure you use petroleum first. And the idea, petroleum is only used if these conditions are met, i.e. I have too much petroleum, I need to get rid of some of it. Otherwise, we're going to use the heavy oil. We've got good old rocket parts. Nothing too special there. We have our main unloading onto the belts for the base. Yes, it is still a belt-based base. Unfortunately, the biggest problem with the community maps is one of 2 things always fail. Either we reach a UPS limit with people's computers, or we reach a map size / download limit with people's home internet connections. So one of the things I try to do on every community map is say, no, I want the map to be small. And I'm going to cap science. You cannot produce more than X per minute. Because I just don't want a situation where people can't play because they can't keep up. What do I want? I want consumption. So you can see from our map, and I don't need to tick on all of them. But obviously our map has its peaks and curves. Obviously it's being held up by probably rockets. We're currently using 300, so we probably do 1,000 total we can use per minute. We can't produce that many. I'd say we probably produce, well, on a 1 hour stand, we produce 400 per minute, roughly. So not really what I call a mega base, even though it definitely feels like it sometimes when you're running around these maps. Now, bits and pieces that have been done for this map. So we had a train depot, it's probably the best way of putting it, to park all the dead trains. We made that nice and small because we knew we'd use it, and I have seen this like half full at least once. We have the iron smelter to forgive all iron smelters. So again, bring stuff in on belts because generally it's more efficient nowadays using belts than it is using bots. Hurry up and autosave. And then we just run it into stacks and stacks and stacks of smelters. Plates in here, steel out here. Obviously you need a lot more iron ore for one plate, one belt of steel. So these keep up beautifully. We've got a smaller version up here for copper. Same story, comes out, fills the trains full of copper. The only difference with copper is copper's actually got a little depot up here. So the trains come out and they literally loop up to here, dump their stuff into a bot network. Trains that need copper, like all these guys here, can come in and pick up copper and then go back out. Obviously, the copper outpost team sorry, I'm up late recording this again because I'm going away tomorrow. So yeah, I didn't want to leave it till halfway through the month to do the end of the month tour. Yeah, so this is just a copper depot. It's just somewhere to park on the copper. Obviously, the copper outpost team's a little bit behind. There has been, and still is from the looks of it, some very, very large outposts up here carrying all sorts of crap. These were giant chain-linked inserters running all the way up across the top and all the way back down. And as you can see, it just causes every single inserter to spin and flip, which there have been plenty of times I've actually seen the UPS numbers drop when 1 or 2 or 3 of these things tick on, because inserters are not exactly what I would call quality for the UPS sake. All right. So yeah, there is a major bunker here that's been mostly emptied. Not quite completely, but mostly emptied. The iron ore one is gone, apart from it's got all sorts of weird stuff in it. The copper one's completely dried up because it was bringing it down to this smelter and then gone. Again, we're doing plastic with one hell of a buffer. Wow. Okay. I would have just, same as I did with copper, I actually built this copper one. All the smelting and everything else was here, the stacker and everything. I'm like, okay, I just want a copper sink. I just want a copper bunker that I can just like swing the trains in, dump them, swing the trains back out, just to turn ore to plate as fast as possible. So that's exactly what I built. So yeah, we've got plastic is done on site. We've got a green ship build that again does green ships on site. We're just missing copper. We've got a red circuit build, same story. You know, red circuits on site. Wow, that is a lot of red circuits. I didn't realize we had nearly that many stacked up in boxes doing nothing. There you go. Like I said, the challenge was to map them. You know, to mine the map dry. So plenty of things got stacked up. We've got a blue circuit build, same story, just lots and lots of, oh shit. I thought the red circuit one was bad. Holy shit. And they're just going and sitting there doing nothing. They are, fill the train first. If you can't fill the train, run it, oh wow, into a storage chest. Uranium. We've got brick. Brick with same story, just bring the stone in. This one is one I actually got a chance to build, and from the looks of it, is backed up. Yeah, every single active requester is full. So somebody just needs to come down here and go blueprint. Okay, can't go south, can't go north, must have to go east or west. And just paste down more storage. That's all it needs. Just keep adding more storage until, you know, you run out of bricks. Where's the uranium one? Oh, there's the uranium one. So the uranium one is different because you bring in ore and it actually compresses better when processed. Bring in the ore, and I've just got a whole stack of these machines just processing it. And as you can see, you know, 279,000 dull rocks and 2,000 shiny rocks. So that's how far we got in this community map. We did have a lot of traffic jams. It seems people aren't exactly great at putting down train stations and stackers. This is a simple case of too many trains, not enough room to park them. Yeah, so you're trying to get copper, but because you got several stone trains in front of you, you're stuck. So I think it's going to have to be a challenge of mine in future maps to make sure people understand how stackers work. So if you want to come and learn about stackers, by all means, swing by the current community map. The current community map is on a very, very small square map. It is 4K by 4K with really, really, really intense biters. And if you haven't seen it already, I spoke to Video Game Geek about the playthrough him and Exterminator are doing, and got some of the details off him. And hopefully, the community map in the next 30 days, or probably 29 days by the time you've seen this. If you wish to come along, by all means, links are down in the description, or links to my Discord are down in the description, at which point you can jump on there and get the details for the community map. The challenge is to get further in 30 or 29 days than what Video Game Geek and Exterminator already have in the last 6 weeks. Plus, they're going to have another 4 weeks. So, we've got to get further into the campaign in 30 days than they have in the last 10 weeks. So that's the challenge. Along with clear all the biters off the map. And again, map's a little bit biter heavy. It's solid red basically. You got a nice quiet starting area. Everything else is biters. Nothing but biters. Just shoulder to shoulder, spawner to spawner. So that does it for this community map. We did well. We did have an explore. We did have fun. That's the most important thing. As always, thoughts, comments, suggestions, and more importantly, come along and join in the community maps. This was a fairly lazy one, and we still did 4,500 satellites for science with robot speed 14 and no productivity because we didn't want productivity. Production, all-time stats, 1 billion plate. Blue circuits. 15 million. So we didn't even get the 20 million achievement. Anyway, I'm going to leave it here. Thank you guys for watching, and I will catch up with you in the next one. All right, bye.